na may kako. We want to get this started in respect of your time. My name is Hilo. I oversee OS Community Outreach at the Office of Hawaiian Affairs. We want to mahalo you, first of all, for taking time out of your lives to come and spend a little bit with us. The reason why we're here today is really share with you what OHA is proposing with respect to our nation building efforts. So I'm sure a lot of you have questions about it and we can provide you with some answers. We brought our CEO, Kamala'o Crab, or Keaukaha, to talk story with you as well. I guess just as some basic rules, we just ask that you have aloha here to tuka with you, provide you with education. We ask that you also, we're going to have a short presentation, PowerPoint presentation. At the end of that, we'll be happy to answer all of your questions. But until we we ask that you hold them so that we can get through the entirety of the presentation and then we can answer questions. So I appreciate your understanding. Again, mahalo nui for coming out this evening, giving us a little bit of your time. And without further ado, I'd like to bring up Kamala'o Crab, or Keaukaha's Hilo, to say a few words.
Vilina mai ke roa ku yaka kua pau, aloha. Aloha. Ka mea mua e aloha ku ia oko na hulu kupuna. Na oko ka umeke o kana awau. Na oko kalama ku e awamo i ka mea roina. No kokako ka puna mamua aku. No laila ka mea dui e aloha ku. Ina kupuna hele mai ke ia po. Ki kai mea lua i aloha ku ia oko e na kupa. Ina hoa makamaka no ke ia aina pula o Keaukaha nei. Ka mea nani no Hilo. Kaulana noho i no ke ia aina o Hanakahi. Aloha ku ia oko ke kahi. Ka mea kolu i ka poe lehu i hele mai ai no ke ia po ka lohi ana no ke ia mea kumuhana ma ke ena kule ana Hawaii e pile ana ke kukuru ana e pile ana ke ka Lahui. Aloha and good evening. Each and every one of you this evening. I first want to acknowledge all of the kupuna here tonight. See quite a few for taking an interest. For you are the beacons of our legacy, of our culture. You hold tremendous wisdom, so I want to acknowledge each and every one of you. I also have a connection here for a woman that helped mentor me when I had black hair years ago. That is Epi Napiahi. So it's good to see the kupuna here. Second, to all of you from Keaukaha, the kupa of this Aina Pula Pula. This is a well-known homestead. Steep in being staunch about land here and perpetuation of culture. I want to acknowledge all of you who are from this area and who have traveled from afar this evening to this meeting to listen to what we're about to share with you this evening. And lastly, everyone else, and really is to the POIC right here. We have come, so we have a really diverse group here tonight. What we will be sharing with you is about the Office of Hawaiian Affairs and the Board of Trustees' decision to move forward with a process for election of delegates that would result in a AHA convention that will lead to a referendum to propose back to the people. I want to acknowledge our trustee from the island of Maui, Trustee Hulu Lindsay, back here. From what I understand, Trustee Robert Lindsay for the island of Hawaii is not well, so he could not attend tonight. But at least Trustee Hulu Lindsay is here. She also has roots into Keaukaha. Just a little bit background information before our staff shares with you a presentation. Is this idea or this initiative? It's something not new to the Office of Hawaiian Affairs. It's governance, the pursuit of recognition has been quite a long time. This is also a result of efforts not by OHA, but as a result of Act 195. Act 195 was the state legislature's proposal to move a state process forward for recognition, and the Office of Hawaiian Affairs had funded it. That's Kanaki Olovalu. Okay. I'm sure I'll hear quite a few comments about that tonight, but I want to be really clear that that was an effort that's separate from the Office of Hawaiian Affairs. And over a year ago, our trustees and our organization was faced with the situation is how do we move forward? And as a result of that, we started meeting last year summer to discuss how to move forward. We also have had a number of meetings on governance. And this is with a very diverse group. This Friday, Saturday will be our fourth summit. We call them Kamauaea Summits. We had one just about 3 weeks ago. We had met with people from the kingdom, from independence in terms of looking at Hawaii's situation as occupied nation state. We also have met with people from the state as well as who are interested in federal recognition. What I want to say is that this process is really a people's process. Okay. Now, it's an imperfect process, but what I want you to really know is that we are open, and we have been receiving emails, hashtags, or I don't know what you call it. Whatever, hashtag or whatever. Yeah. So we've been hearing from quite people throughout the state about this issue, and not just Native Hawaiians. There's a tremendous interest on non-Hawaiians about this movement that we are proposing, and with great interest. What we hope to accomplish is some degree of unity. What we mean by that is, I think a lot of us can agree what the wrongs have been done to us as a people. When you look historically though, we may be in separate canoes on how we want to get there. What we are trying to propose is diverse views on how to get there. As of yesterday, the Board of Trustees, we have met with leaders or representatives from different groups. Yesterday was the first time that the Office of Hawaiian Affairs had met with people from the nation of Hawaii, the reinstated lawful government of Hawaii, Kalamai Mana group. The Mana group is from Keaukaha Hawaiian Studies. We also met with, I want to say, the Privy Council in Kalamai, I don't know, that's Dennis Ragsdale there. And we also met with Lahui, who is still the chair of the Hawaii Oiwi. So that's the first time that OHA has reached out. And that's really a result of our governance summits. And really trying to pay attention to our community. It was extremely informative. I can tell you there were several asks. One ask was that there is not enough time to educate our people. That's one. Two is that the timeline is too restrictive, meaning within a couple months, as Uncle Pat has shared. So perhaps maybe extending the timeline. And lastly, third is support for different sectors of the community to educate in terms of their perspectives on history. And likely it's a very different perspective from the federal recognition of Manaho. So what I want to share with you is that the board is in a process of considering those issues, okay? Lastly, what I want to share is that we have faced so many challenges, and then last week Friday I spoke with a group just like this, a community group. And so they were asking me, come on now, why now? And how is this going to benefit me? And what I shared with them is that, especially there are quite a few appeals there. So what I can say is, I was there in 1993 at Iolani Palace. So was Moana Keaukaha, okay, and many others. I attended the Hawaii Sovereignty Elections Council meeting, that was back in the mid to late 90s. I even attended the Hawaii Oiwi a number of times. But now as I stand in this position at the Office of Hawaiian Affairs, it's really how do we empower ourselves? And what we know now is that we have tremendous challenges ahead of us. What I've come to accept is that there's diverse views. But what motivates me is still the aloha we have for each other and the common ground and values that we want for our people. So for example, one of the questions that was posed to me is, what will governance get us? And that was from Opio last week. And she works with homeless people. 35 to 40% of the homeless in Hawaii are Native Hawaiian. Okay? With governance, whatever governance it is, it gives us the power or the decision-making authority to use our lands, to use our resources in a manner that can help a homeless couple with 4 kids that do not have a job with substance abuse issues, to get them the right services that they need, to get them on a path where they can provide decent clothing and food for their children, and at the same time opportunity for job employment as well as shelter. That is how simple it is. However, that decision lies within each individual. And that is so precious, is the power to determine your own destiny. That is so precious. That is a right that we have as a people. But we've been through so much trauma or misinformation about who and what our history really is. I think we are in a stage of more enlightenment. We know more today than we did 10 or 20 years ago. And that was evident in our meeting yesterday with a lot of the independent sovereign guys. This is about perpetuation of culture. This is the perpetuation. This is also about our future. So I share that tonight is because when you think about this process, whether you agree with it or not, what I hope we can get to a point as a Lahui, as a collective people, is we can begin to agree what's most important to us. Opportunities for our keiki in the future, perpetuation of Pakualelo, Pakuahine, reparations for atrocities done by others onto us. I will share, because I was talking to Williama, is that when I came to Office of Hawaiian Affairs over 5 years ago, my #1 project was to complete a seized land inventory or a ceded lands inventory. It is 85% complete. We have 1 more year to complete it in its entirety. All of it has been done by Native Hawaiians. I take that back, except one individual, but it was done by all Native Hawaiians. It's using the most up-to-date technology. It has all of the royal patents, land awards, tax key map, everything. Documentation of different periods of map. Now that's for the Lahui, and that's for the next governing entity to decide on how to have, to decide or negotiate reparations with the United States, okay? I see our role for OHA is to do all we can now to support that governing entity. What this also means for the future for OHA is to actually transfer our assets and resources. What does that mean? Over 25,000 acres of Okeleopuna, 500 acres in Wahiwa on the island of Oahu, agricultural lands, 50 acres of Palawea of cultural sites on Maui, Waimea Valley. All of that goes to the next governing entity, including the Native Hawaiian Trust Fund, in which holds a lot of the cedar land settlements with the state, which is several $100 million. All of that goes to the governing entity. Okay, that is a priority that the Office of Hawaiian Affairs has had, and is also related to this governance initiative. In general and in brief, that's a little bit of background information about leading up to this effort that you just see in this presentation. So without further ado, I'll have Hilo and Kaui Asing present a short video, and then they're going to share about a presentation with you folks tonight. Mahalo.
Kind of said everything that was in my presentation, so I'll just go over it so that we're clear as to what OHA is proposing. We'll start off with a short video. It's actually a commercial.
It begins with you. Nation building will succeed through all 3 parts. The goal of nation building is to determine our destiny, to care for our items, to improve the lives of Native Hawaiians and everyone in Hawaii, in the areas of culture, education, health, and economic opportunities. Nation building is also about addressing harms from the illegal overthrow of our nation and the seizure of 1.8 million acres of lands that belong to our Queen and the Hawaiian Kingdom. We could do nothing and let others use those lands and make decisions for us. We could choose to establish ourselves as a nation within the state of Hawaii. We could work to achieve recognition as a nation within the United States. We could seek to gain redress as a nation that once stood independently among the family of nations internationally. Our community is united to move forward and engage in a process to build a nation. It's your choice. Rise and be heard.
So that was a short 60-second commercial that's currently airing on TV. So what I'll do is I'll pick it apart so that we can better understand what that all means. There are lights. Okay, so we can get started by just something that the Queen left for us. She said the President acknowledges the right of the Hawaiian people to choose their own form of government. With that one sentence carried out, that's all either me or my people could ask. She goes on to say, never cease to act because you fear you may fail. So this is a daunting task in front of us, trying to raise the nation. But we're committed to this cause. This process that OHA is proposing really begins with you. It begins with each of us individually. The goal of nation building is really to bring our people together. Everybody in the Hawaiian community has different perspectives on where we want to go as a Lahui. What OHA is proposing is a convening of all of our Hawaiians, our Hawaiian voices, to come together at a convention or an AHA in which our perspectives can be discussed, and ultimately what comes of that convention would be a referendum in a direction so we can determine our destiny as a Lahui. So the goal of nation building really is about unifying our people. Kamanao talked a lot about this. The goal of nation building is also, we know we can do a better job in providing education and health opportunities, getting our Hawaiians off the streets. So nation building can afford us those opportunities: culture, health, education, take care of our aina. You know, OHA recently premiered Ola Ikawai. I don't know if anyone saw that. Ola Ikawai really touched on, you know, the diversion of water. 90% of our streams are diverted. You know, so we got to do something about this. The situation in which we live in now is just not really conducive to a way a Hawaiian should be living and wants to live. We feel that this opportunity to raise a nation can fix that. Again, it's about addressing harms that we know occurred. It's also about the seizure of 1.8 million acres of land that belong to our kingdom. Not only that land, though, but all the land in Naina, which belongs to the Hawaiian people. What's being proposed? OHA is proposing this process. It starts again with each of us, the Native Hawaiian people. OHA is proposing to have an election of delegates representing mokus, or however we're gonna break it up. I mean, I'll get into the framework of how that's going to work. We're proposing to have an election of delegates. Those delegates will go to a convening, an AHA. What's going to come of that AHA is a referendum or a draft form of a governing document. That governing document that comes from the AHA will go back to the people to decide whether they want to ratify that. If not, we go back up and we start over again. Once we finish this step, we move on to the steps of nation building. Nation building will be determined based on that document. So again, this is just another look at the process. You know, right now we're using the official Hawaiian roll. The roll closes on May 1st. So if you want to be involved in this process, we ask that you get on the roll. The election of delegates will happen after the closure of the roll. Then we'll move into the phase of delegates, convention, referendum, and then we move forward with the steps of nation building. Let me clarify a few things that I think a lot of people, some misunderstandings. If you're not on the roll, does that mean you're not Hawaiian? The answer is no. If you're not on the Hawaiian roll, does that mean you're not going to be part of the nation? Right. The answer to that is no. By the governing entity, once it's formed, the citizenry will come from that governing entity. When you sign up to be on the roll, all you're signing up to be a part of is the process to raise this nation. That's all you're signing up for. Okay? So, the commercial also talked about this. After we go through that process, these are some of the things that entity, that governing entity can look at. What forms of recognition we want to take. We want to be independent. We want to seek some form of redress. Or even looking at federal recognition or state recognition. There's different options that we have. And all of this can come of this convention. OHA's role. OHA's role is to provide funding to support this. Yeah? To provide education and be the facilitator. We're committed to being neutral. What we mean by that is we're not going to seek any particular form of government. We know in the past Ohio has been an advocate for federal recognition. But this time around, we're really letting the people decide the outcome of this convention. It's up to you to decide where we want to go as a lobby. We'll create that government, and that government can then determine what path we want to go. So OHA's role in this is to be neutral. And we'll continue to support various efforts, including international efforts. So we'll make sure that whatever comes of this after this this convening, that we have options available to us. So that's what OHA's role will be in this. Provide funding, education. We'll remain neutral. We won't advocate for a particular path. And then we'll continue to look at ways that we can support, no matter where the governing entity lands, that we have options going forward. And what we can do to get involved. We just want to provide education right now. So really, if you guys want to provide us with venues to talk to people about this, family, friends, neighbors, we ask that you sign up to be on the roll if you want to be involved in the creation of this government. Again, if you don't sign up, that doesn't mean that you're not Hawaiian. It doesn't mean you're not going to be part of the nation. It just means that you're agreeing to participate in the process to create this nation. And participate. And so that was a quick glance over what is being proposed. I went through it quickly because Kamana'o did talk a lot about the details about what would come. And he's got to jump on a plane in about an hour, so I wanted to give him an opportunity to help me answer your questions. So that's our short presentation. And so at this time, we'd be happy to answer any questions you guys have.
Well, I don't have a question, I just have some comments. Sure. You know, because I think that what you're proposing is very dangerous. It's very dangerous. And with the Office of Hawaiian Affairs and what you are doing right here is, and I think the people here in Hawaii have got to understand the liability that you are placing on the Hawaiian Kingdom. I mean, how many of you understand when you talk about, and you made light of this, well, you know, we can talk about, well, the international issues about it. How many of you understand the Geneva and the Hague Conventions and what is now going on? Because when the Queen made her agreements with President Cleveland, it wasn't anything light. Do you understand that? And you made reference to what the Queen did, and the President said, oh, we have a right to choose. But how many of you understand the Liliuokalani assignment and the restoration agreement that Cleveland made with Liliuokalani and the impact that it has with us today?
That was under international law.
No, that's not under international law.
Well, it's an agreement with the United States.
It's an agreement between two heads of state.
That's correct. That's correct,
But you
colleague.
also have to understand that. But now, what you are proposing, okay, could erase all of the benefits that was now before all of the Hawaiian people. I'll give you a good example. What President Obama is doing with Crimea when he says, we're going to put sanctions against Russia because Russia is not paying attention to all of this stuff. So we're going to sanction Russia with contracts. Same thing that happens today under the Geneva and the Hague Conventions. Because of the illegal overthrow of the Hawaiian Kingdom, the United States that are here today, because of that illegal overthrow, all of the contracts that are now in place to 2014, those contracts are illegal. They cannot apply under international law. And as a result of that, those contracts are illegal and invalid. Okay? As a result of that, there is a liability. So all of the bank contracts, the contracts with Hawaiian Homes, your contracts that you signed on your cards are illegal and invalid because those are contracts that were signed under U.S. law in their occupation in the Hawaiian Kingdom. So if we move forward in what you guys are proposing, that's going to invalidate our claims to be able to get the reparations and restitution from this. We have to maintain this under the Hawaiian Kingdom law. This is very dangerous if you guys are moving forward on this without this understanding. Very dangerous. And please stop in this movement forward because you guys are moving forward and saying, we got to do this by September. And you guys are giving deadlines. And to people who really don't understand what they're doing and you're forcing them to sign up in this stuff. And we haven't even gotten out to educate them on this. I have paperwork that I wanted to read to everybody and I say, how do I explain this to people for them to understand it? And I don't even have the time to explain it.
Yeah.
I don't. I work with Dr. Keaukaha closely and he just got back from Switzerland. How many of you understand that the Swiss government has now been asked to be the protecting power at the international level so that we can move forward now to force the United States in the International Criminal Courts as well as the International Court of Justice to enforce war crimes that we have filed against them. This is really important. And now we move, and you guys are moving to this? Not even. This is dangerous. But yet you guys are moving to this.
Well, let me respond. First of all, Kale, maybe they don't know, but I'm very aware of what you're talking about. Okay? I've met with Keanu a number of times on this matter, and he has informed us. Okay? I met with Henry also. Henry knows it.
And I work closely with Keanu on a daily basis, and we don't support this at all.
And that's fine. But also, we have also, I spoke to Keanu about helping us with a paper, a white paper to get the path. Okay, what is the path to do that? The Hague is one path. It's not the path. So that first of all, I'm agreeing with you. This is very, very edgy. It's very edgy.
Worse than it.
Okay, but what I think our people also should know is how do we get there? How do we get to the authority that would enforce?
Let us do the workshop so that we can educate the people so that they know.
Yeah.
Instead of doing this, what you guys are doing now, and trying to get them to sign up for the road commissions, that's got to stop.
Come on now.
Yeah.
Come on now. Na pupuna. Na makua. Okay. If you win science, you okay that. Follow me. Follow me very carefully. Hue, hue, hue. Resist, resist, resist. Our kupuna. Who are we today to defy our kupuna?
That's right.
Who are we? We cannot let our kupunas wander out there that we're lost. In 1936, the American Indian accepted federal recognition and lost their sovereignty. This process is self-destruct. Self-destruct. We just shot ourselves in the toe. 1971, the Alaskan Indians were recognized with federal recognition. America found oil in 1972. How come they never find them in 1970? You all read the paper?
Yes.
When Attorney General Lahui came out and says 100% of the geothermal that comes out of Hawaiian homelands belongs to Hawaiian homes. Well, of course, you take this, you belong to the state of Hawaii.
Amen.
That's who gets all of it. That's who get all the benefits. Not us.
That's right.
Not us. We've been wondering for 120 years. Oha is almost 50 years old. How come now? How come now?
Right.
Na kupuna, na makua, I ask you. Look,
Young God.
look into yourself. You are the sovereign. You are the sovereign, not the U.S. Not the U.S. Okay, this is self-destruct. You will feel much, much better when you look in the mirror. Tomorrow morning, you call a list up. You said, hey, take my name off. I want it verified. When you look yourself in the mirror,
Yeah.
you say, good morning. Aloha kakaiaka.
Aloha.
Thank you, but just please, okay this process. They take our people by the nose, and you're like, you take one buffalo or one bull, you put a ring in his nose, you take him any place you like go. That's what's happening to us. Hooky this way, we go this way. Hooky that way, we go that way. Hooky this way, we sit down. That's what's been happening to us all this time. Wake up! Wake up! The U.S. is moving. Only one thing I recognize in this is the process of the United Nations. Support the United Nations. President Obama, I don't know how many of you heard about it, but President Obama just signed the Pala to allow the United Nations in here. Before no more, only the U.S. keep United Nations out. They talk international law, but on their mouth. The U.S. has been in Iraq for 10 years. They had 3 elections. The U.S. been here 120 years with no more 1 election. The reinstated lawful Hawaiian government. They say, oh, what entity we going? Where we going? Reinstated lawful Hawaiian government. We will lock these bugs out. 24 nobles and 24 reps. We have 3 branches: executive branch, legislative branch, judicial branch. Come visit us. Reinstated lawful Hawaiian government. And we put you on the track. It's your choice. You like to be official? You run. Put your name down. But come. And you don't need to have the cocoa. You gotta have the allegiance. You cut me and you cut one popolo, same thing. You cut one Japanese, my blood, same thing.
Yeah.
Red. The blood runs red.
All red.
But you gotta know who you are, what you are, and where you come from. Thank you.
My name is Keaukaha. My mother was in the
Louder, please.
You have the microphone? Hey, Gary. My name is Keaukaha, and my mother was Linda Dela Cruz. She was a trustee for Oka. All of you that are sitting in here, if you know me, I ask you to forgive me for anything I may have done to hurt anybody in this room or whoever is hearing my voice. I need to stand clean before Jesus Christ and my Father in heaven.
Amen.
So that I can speak as if I was standing in His army at this time. I have done my part, as much as I could, to obey His commandments for the last year and a half. I pay my 10% tithe to the Mormon church because I believe the Mormon church is the only true church upon this earth. And you have knowledge that there are many churches on this earth. Have you ever asked the question, which one of them is true?
No one.
Same like now, you have a lot of entities going to tear this down. It's the same thing that's happening on this earth. So what do I do? That is to clean myself up before the eyes of the Lord so that I can stand here and speak with a clean mind and say the right thing that I think is in my heart to say tonight. I love Hawaii. I love the land that our Heavenly Father gave to the Native Hawaiians so that we can call it Hawaii. And as a Native Hawaiian, this is sacred ground. Like many of you know, Mauna Kea is a sacred mountain. And there are groups that are fighting against the telescopes, so there will be opposition in all things. But if you do what the Lord says, you have promise, even paying tithing, you will be blessed. I am witness of that. I tell you, I have been blessed. My icebox is full of food. I can't even eat tonight because I'm full right now. And every day I've been full because of the blessings that the Lord has given me. So who do you think I'm going to listen to tonight? There has been 2 speakers and not one of them mentioned Jesus Christ.
Amen.
So I will, because He knows my heart. He knows your heart. I don't know your heart. I'm giving you my heart tonight. And this is where I stand. Because this is a brand new journey for our land, our funding that OHA has, I want it to be used the right way. No other entity that I know of have money to fund what is proposed right now. I believe I want my vote to be right down here. As a Native Hawaiian, I want to vote in these elections. I want to be in that AHA if I be chosen. I want to come up with something. I'm 62 years old and there's nothing. When is it going to start? When I die and leave it to the young ones? They're here to learn too. So, I propose that you go ahead with this. I cannot go to The Hague. I cannot talk to the people in The Hague. This is the closest thing that will happen now. So I want to be a part of it. I say these words in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Excuse me, we don't know who's the true church. Amen?
Amen.
My tutu and my ancestors had taught me. Kanakamai oi is to love one another. They never teach me sovereignty. I'm 70 years old. And I became an ordained pastor from Maui. In Maui, I have all my family, the Ohana. The mayor is my family. The sister is right, but we don't know which church is true. You are the temple in Corinthians. Know ye not know that you're temple. If you think this is right for you, then you go for it. But remember, we are the children of God in Hawaii. I was always corrected with my speaking Hawaii, no Hawaii. Maui, Kauai, Molokai. And I'm an educated person, but I love Jesus Christ. My father was a Mormon. I told him I want to be a Pentecostal preacher so I can guide the people wherever. Today, Thomas invited me. I have another place to go tonight. Okay? The truth is going to set us free. But my family, my ohana, number 6 tells us, the Lord will bless us. The Lord will shine the light upon us. And the Lord knows each and every one of us here tonight. We talk about freedom of religion, freedom of speech. We're not going to get this pretty soon. It's going to be cut off. Obama is a human like me. And only God can take care of that man. But if there is new things from the Aina, I enjoy that brother there. Okay? Then you make your own decision. Before, we got to go one way. When Tutu said, "Hell in my eye, we all eat." Mana, we're coming out in the last days of 2014. And this is how my Tutu Cake, my Tutu Wahini, Kandi will teach things. You stay with that Aina. You are God's chosen one to be honored. I was on the mainland. Heard so much people coming here and buying our Hawaiian land. We're supposed to pass it on and give it up $1 to the next. But people are selling their land. Oh boy, the ancestors are getting very upset about this. I love you all. And may God all rest and give us rest tonight. Omaha! Omaha! No more pilikiakako. Only aloha.
You have your hand up.
I do believe that we are children of Keaukaha. And I believe also, though, that, like Kali said, you know, without education, and I think Oha is going about it a little bit backwards. What you're asking us to do is you're asking us to make a choice that we don't know what we're making a choice on. The education, I believe, needs to come before the choices are made in order for us to make the best choices for ourselves. It's like when Nancy Pelosi said, oh, we have to pass this bill in order to understand it, in order to read it. It's like, you know, we want to be able to understand, and I think we want to be able to read and know what we're doing. But when I get a notice from Oha and Kanai'ololalu telling me that unless I sign up, not only will I be disenfranchised from this process, but my children and my children's children will be. And I don't even know what this process is that you're telling me to be part of. So what I think you should do with your money, because I do believe with the auntie that you do have the funds, is to educate us first so that so that we can make educated decisions. Before you tell us, then sign up. So educate us first with the money that you have and the resources that you have, because you have so much. And then let us make the choices with that education. Because that's really, I believe, what we need. And I believe that's what needs to happen. So thank you.
If I could just respond to her. So actually, I appreciate that, and actually, we have several proposals from different groups about education process for their position, you know, and we are actually considering that that we don't want to say this. Yeah, we're trying to be neutral, and in the sense is just present a process but then we welcome other people who want to be involved in education. So I can say that what I want to say, so that this can be real productive for you, that you can do something. If you have concerns about this process, you should inform your trustee, okay? Because the decision making for this to go forward, or to amend it, or to reconsider it in terms of education, lies in the hands of the trustee. Okay, so you can make a difference. And what Uncle Sam is sharing, what Kali has shared, every day, every week, it's growing. Okay, and not only independent folks, but also gotta say is people on the federal side are also being involved. So this is a matter that a lot of people are passionate about, okay? But what I want to emphasize, so that you have a right to influence the process, is email your trustee about your concern. If we think this is dangerous, that OHA should reconsider, then you have the right to access your email, your trustee. But I want you to know is that we do have funds and we're willing to distribute that out to the community. But I think the bigger question is about concerns about this process moving forward.
Well, I wanted to say thanks to you folks for coming in presenting, and also to the Kupuna who stood up and shared the Manao with us. Very, very important that we hear that we can express that. But I just took a few notes and I just want to read some of it and share some of my thoughts. Yeah, I think some of the confusion and some of the conflict that we feel here in this meeting is a direct reflection of the process that's going on over here. Yeah, it's dysfunctional. You guys are trying to streamline this nation-building process without even educating us, without even outreach to us, without giving us the facts, laying out the facts, bringing us all together. Yeah. So I think it's a direct reflection of that process, that we are confused, that we are conflicted and upset. Yeah. I also wanted to say, yeah, you said that it was a people's process. But what people? Who? Which people? I wasn't invited. I know a lot of these guys wasn't invited, yeah? So it was like a VIP people's process, yeah? You guys are having these summits, these Kamawa'ea summits, this Kane'e Papa stuff going on behind the scenes. We don't know what's going on. If it's truly a people's process, then you gotta come outreach to the people and bring us together and get our money, yeah? Couple more things. Sorry. You guys say that there's lots of perspectives on the issue. Some guys federal, they want recognition, federal. Some guys, staunch independence guys. Yeah, lots of different opinions for sure. But there's only one true political status of the islands, right? There's only legal and not legal. So we gotta base everything on the legality, right? If we're gonna jump into this and continue the heifer, continue the illegality, what's gonna stop our Kanaka from coming right back and filing injunctions, filing, cases against this new government? We're just continuing the heifer, the pilikia that our people have been putting up with for so long already. We cannot rush into all of this. And it's just gonna be the continuation of all the same habit that's been happening to us. Yeah? So I recommend that, if you guys not gonna just stop, you guys gotta get rid of the deadlines. Yeah. I mean, May 1st, you guys are really trying to get rid of the deadlines, educate our people, and apologize for confusion. Acknowledge that what you guys have been a part of, what Kana'io'olowau did was scare us into trying to be a part of this process, telling us we're not going to be a part of this in the future. yeah, using all these funds, all of our funds, to come up with some flashy, you know what I mean, presentation, beautiful graphics, all kind of good stuff. But how much of that our funds are being utilized for that? To convince, to trick us into jumping into this without all of the facts they have. Yeah? So educate our people first, basically. Yeah? And like our Kupuna said, yeah, we cannot just forget about what our Kupuna did. Our Kupuna signed the Brigade petition. Yeah, 40,000 strong. So, and you guys want us to forget about that and sign up with this? I don't think so.
I just wanted, Kapanawa has like 10 more minutes with us before you gotta head to the airport. Okay, you guys stay.
Yeah, there you go.
As was stated at the meeting that we had over in Honolulu, there was concern that education and that there's not enough time, as has been raised here. You know, the majority of the trustees better go along with that. Otherwise, people are going to dollar and pay for a suit that could throw a monkey wrench in this whole process. People are very, very uncomfortable when they see ads in the paper saying, if you don't sign up, you will not be a part of the nation. You know, people are very, very hurt by that. They're disturbed by that. And we need enough time to educate our community. You cannot rush this process through. And you better go back and tell those other trustees that as well. Because people are going to get very nuha, and it's just going to piss people off more about the Office of Hawaiian Affairs. I would also like to add that there was a coalition that was put together probably before you came in to office, Kamana'o. And that coalition was subsidized by OHA. People came from all the different islands. It went on for several years. There's a lot of good mana'o in there so that you don't have to reinvent the wheel. There's a lot of good mana'o, and OHA spent a lot of money having these meetings. We had to fight each other on this island to go to Honolulu. Half were for the Akaka bill, the other half were against the Akaka bill. So we had to scrap for tickets on the neighbor island to go to Honolulu for these coalition meetings. And you know, if you're on Oahu, you can jump on a bus, hitchhike, or whatever, and you can get there. But you gotta take care of the neighbor islands. It cannot just be Oahu-centric. So, you know, OHA. First of all, I want to compliment you for the movies that were shown on KGMB last week about Oahu law, water rights. Now, that was one good thing that OHA did. I've been waiting for 30 years for somebody in OHA besides myself to say aloha aina. And I was very proud of you, Kamana'o, because you remembered aloha aina. And it was good seeing that come from OHA. It's about time. And I compliment you on that. However, this process gotta slow down, man. You're going too fast. And the people don't like it. You've heard it already. Mahalo.
So, now that you're sharing with us, we're taking it down and we'll make sure that it gets shared with the trustees. So I'm hearing that the process needs to be slowed down. That's something we'll convey. More education.
And education.
Education, outreach. We'll make sure those things are conveyed appropriately.
Well, I think
Oh, thank you. Dr. Crabb, if you would, your presentation mentioned three forms of, three models that we could allude to. I'm curious, just to go over them. State recognition, federal recognition, and independence.
Right.
Right? Independence is on the table.
Yes.
Okay, so federal recognition would require state consent.
Not necessarily.
No? How would a state recognition work? And then federal recognition, it would require federal consent?
Yes.
Okay, and then independence. Just clarify, independence would be a form of succession. So there's some, if you could identify where in the U.S. Constitution or any other law that the U.S. has recognized the right of one of its states to grant a people within that state, or generally U.S. citizens, the right to secede from the nation as a people, to become an independent state. If you could explain.
Well, what I do know now is that...
Oh, one other thing, if you don't mind. And if consent for each of these models has already been acquired, or is this something that we acquire after the process?
Okay. Your first question is there a case precedence in federal law whether or not they have approved of a indigenous people or a state to succeed?
And no, that a state would grant to its people the right to secede from the United States and that state to become an independent
I'm not
state.
aware of any case of that.
Well, I'm not talking about case. I mean law, constitutional provision, statute.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with.
So independence is essentially unknown. How we achieve it. It's unknown, right? And
I think there's quite a few. I have met with Keaukaha. I've met with him a number of times. I've met with I think that there is people in our community who have been on this path for a while, and that it could be a real possibility. I think the challenge, at least just going around the islands, is we don't know which path to take.
Okay, but my question is not as to which path to take. That will be determined through the process.
Right.
My question is specifically, have the necessary consents been acquired already so that you can offer these processes?
Well,
offer these models to us. You can say, okay, we can achieve this, we can go for this or this or this. But we really don't know if we can do that.
Yeah, so you have a really good point. Right now, the only way for state recognition is through the legislature. They would have to approve it. Those who were the architects of Act 195 had approved or had suggested that this process could be a process for Native Hawaiians to be recognized as not only indigenous but their own governing entity. For the federal, I can tell you right now, there is no consent. We Native Hawaiians are very unique compared to Native Americans and Native Alaskans. There is no, currently, by law, there is no path for Hawaiians for federal recognition. Again, I can safely say that.
So why is the offer being made then? Why are we being convinced that somehow we can achieve something that there is no mechanism to achieve? And then the independence model, I think it's not only dishonest, but it's you know, I mean, the advertising that went around said that you're going to lose everything, and yet the young man over there said, you're not disqualified. The process is open. So there seems to be a great deal of contradictions. Is there any place we can call to resolve this? Has an office been set up where we can, like you mentioned, through our trustees, but is there specifically an office where we can acquire answers to these questions? Will one be set up?
Well, that would, if you want to amend this process or have comment on it, I would say the Office of Hawaiian Affairs.
Well, I would like to, you know, mostly inquire as to like things like that particular consent. There are several other facets of this plan that, you know, that there seem to be offerings that you cannot produce. You know, it's there. We can talk about it, but you know, we don't know the mechanism. These are unknowns. right? You're offering us an unknown process to achieve an unknown goal from some unknown entity by unknown consent. You know, we seem to be operating in a series of unknowns. So can we find some place where we can like settle these questions?
Well, I think that's a very similar question we having too.
Yeah.
Is because like I say, I had 5 groups coming to me, and all of them independent sovereign. So I'd say, who do I listen to?
Yeah.
You know, who? I would love to support, but I don't want to be put in a position, okay, if I support this guy, then other guys gonna say, come on out, why you ain't support that guy and not these other guys? So that's something that we're trying to understand.
I'm here today because I think that this may be a reasonable process. I'm disinclined to agree with my comrades over here who are independent-minded. You know, I myself am kingdom-minded, but I think this is a process that offers us the opportunity to at least inform the state. I think the state is already informed, and the trustees, that at least 120,000 Hawaiians are interested in some process. Right? If you guys are going to facilitate the accumulation of those, of those names and do it, I'm inclined to, support this process. However, when I go into the community and tell these people and they ask me these questions, it starts to look like I'm in your pocket.
Yeah.
Because I'm proposing that they participate in this process, and yet they're faced with all these great contradictions. So how do I resolve it? Is there some place where we can go to just get questions to resolve these issues about?
I would invite you. I don't know if I can pay for everybody to come Friday, Saturday, but I would welcome you to come Friday, Saturday, to come over here. Because that's where we're having discussions. And brother, I do agree with you. It's not all the people have been invited, but we started with the po'o and whoever their designees were, because they're the ones making the decision, okay? And then when we got more and more interest, and so we started to open it up. But that's more of a matter of resources. If I invited the whole Lahui to come, we would go bankrupt, okay? So just in a practicality sense is, we have people representing the Keaukaha. We got people representing the reinstated lawful governance of Hawaii. We got Nation of Hawaii. We got Kingdom of Hawaii guys. And then we got federal state guys, But I really appreciate what you say, is because I think that's the dialogue, is we hear your concern. Oha alone doesn't know what the solution is, but I think what you say is very relevant. Is how do we resolve all of this and then educate our people? I agree with that. I agree with that. All I can tell you right now is our trustees have made a vote for the process, but that kind of concern, I would certainly think to the trustees. I certainly would think to the trustees. I think I'm going to come back.
That's good. Thank you.
Yeah. No, the trustee, you want to come? Oh, okay. Trustee Hulu lives here, then I'll go in the back to the cat.
Yes, this is about indigenous people, right? Okay, May 9th, I just got an email from attend with all the indigenous people up in Washington, D.C. May 9th, you are invited, and a couple more. One of them, I have 3 guys from Lahui, Hawaii, our organization, that we invite. We will all have fun us to go out there.
First of all, I know what, because I got that same email. Certainly, we certainly will consider it. Yeah. Okay. So what he's talking about is there is a office in the federal government. It is called the Office of Native Hawaiian Relations. It was created years ago by Congress. Okay, they are putting out emails for people to talk about not just Native Hawaiians but others. And it's in May in Washington, D.C. So that is what Uncle is talking about. Okay, that I'll be real frank. We have not had any communication with that office. This is the first time we have heard about that call, Kahea, to go all the way up to Washington, D.C. Right. Trustee. But we can talk about that. Aloha.
I have a pretty loud voice. I just want to say that I was raised in Keaukaha. I went to this very school. I lived on Pearl Street before the airport came in. So I am a Keaukaha girl. And yes. And I came tonight because I was very concerned about our process. Very concerned. I plan to go to others. I was concerned because I felt that we were not giving folks enough education and that we were not giving us enough time. Those were the two things that I felt very strongly about, and Kamana'o knows that I feel that way. I'm not part of the majority of the board, so I'm trying to advocate and fight very strongly, because if we don't give our people more time and more education, this whole thing is going to flop.
Yes, it's going to flop.
And I know, just listening to you folks tonight, I know that's going to happen. So I would really appreciate you folks emailing the office, you know, so that the other trustees hear it from our people.
All the trustees email.
Yeah, you can email to all of us and tell us how you feel, because this is such an important process for us. And you know, there's no decision made at this level. What we need is for people from all parts of our community to get together in an AHA. There, that's what you decide. You want that kind of model, you want this kind of model, you want this kind. It doesn't matter. Go over there and fight. It's how to get there. You gotta get to that table. And we can have all kinds of ideas. And that's where we hash it out. But right now, the process, I feel, is a little flawed. So you gotta make noise so that our trustees can hear and change it so that you folks are happy, we have more time, and things will get done. Because this is something we should get done. Mahalo. Good.
I have a question. You know, of the nations that groups that met yesterday, one of them is against women being a part of the process. Which one is that, so we know? Yeah.
Hello?
Ragsdale.
Yeah.
I was there.
So, I don't know the official term of his group, but I know it has to do something like with the Kingdom of Hawaii Privy Council. And he is referring to the 1887 Constitution. And according to that Constitution, would allow eligible males to vote. There was a very, I would say, very controversial discussion about that. You know, given it's only identifying males to vote. Now, today we live in 2014. I don't. Yeah,
You know, I mean,
that could be
women
property owners
are
and.
matriarchal society. Women
Well, I'm
are
not arguing with you. I'm
power.
not arguing with you. If I had my way, I would have what he did vote. I would have what he did
Well, I
vote.
just wanted people to know,
Yeah.
exactly what are these independence groups
Yeah.
that say Wahine can't vote?
Right.
I mean, let's get real.
Yeah. I agree with you. Yeah.
My name is Gerald Mauhili, and I'm not late. In fact, I've been to many meetings 1985, everybody in blue down in Kona, Longhouse. OHA going strong. But at the same time, I got the same question just like what the community is saying. 36 years of OHA. And we all look and say, awe no hoi. I see somebody coming from Keaukaha. I serve lunch over here as a 6th grade student going to school, Keaukaha. Move us out 1967 to Panaeva. Take us out of our home grounds. That is the state legislation. That is the process that you're talking about. We see them, we ask them how we get this thing rolling. You know, for me, and I'm only going to talk about me. Tired. I'm looking at everything. I came here tonight for listening. I like what Uncle Sam says. I like what everybody else says. I like what Tom says. The process. What is the process? Then I hear we need one aha. We need one aha. We need the voice to come together. But if there is no process for us to go to, aren't we spinning a wheel that just going to keep going around and around and around? Because my question comes down to this. Education, 1. Collaboration, 2. Harmony, 3. But that should be 1. Harmony first. Then the other ones come inside. Then if we like talk about Keaukaha, we need Keaukaha. But I'm going to say this right now. Because it's getting late. And I appreciate everybody come. But I got to go. And I'm just going to say this. My guy, I like what you guys say. But no force somebody to do something they don't like do.
Yeah.
Because at that point, as a warrior,
Yeah,
as a warrior, I won't turn around and throw my spear at you.
Yeah.
My guy.
Wow.
I kind of came late to the meeting, so maybe this question was already answered. But being on the home state of Hawaiian homeland, I kind of think that that's fairly associated with the federal government because it was organized by the federal government. So I think that's kind of like one process already with somewhat of recognition with the federal government.
That's correct.
Otherwise, they wouldn't even have us, all our politics to prove that we're Hawaiians. Let me clear, a lot of Hawaiians we try to prove that, and they've gone a long way to do that. So my thinking is, okay, so now you create this state entity, okay, and you get this federal entity. Is the federal going to bow to the state? I don't think so.
Well, first let me explain the rationale behind that. And I'll preface that probably independent or kingdom guys may disagree with it. Is because it's really about ceded lands or the seized lands or the national lands or kingdom lands. Is right now, OHA cannot settle that. That has to be, according to state law, that there has to be a governing entity to settle the global settlement. But that's domestically, okay? Probably independence kingdom, from what I understand. All of these Pai'aina is out. But right now, currently under state and federal, that's the parameters we're working in. So right now, that's the rationale for a necessity for state recognition, so the state can negotiate with some entity. Okay. At the federal level, you are correct. It is Department of Hawaiian Homelands. The overall jurisdictions comes under the Department of Interior and so forth. So whatever is moved forward, if it's federal recognition, then that has to be on the table. That the governing entity has to negotiate with the Fed on the transfer of those lands into that governing entity and whether or not reparations for other lands are necessary. Okay?
I'm just kind of thinking in my mind, kind of play with me there. If the ceded land, which of the state making revenue off right now. A lot of it. Let's for instance, we take that federal land and we pull them inside the state and we create this entity. You know what happened to the state, right?
Yes.
They went sink.
Yeah.
So they have no revenue.
Yeah.
Do you think for a moment that the governor is going to agree with something like that?
Not only the governor, but the lawmakers in Washington D.C.
Yeah.
So I agree with you. I think part of the education that we all need to walk away from tonight is that our lifeblood and whether our sovereignty, our self-determination is in this land. The state knows it, the lawmakers in Washington D.C. know it, and we just need to know and understand that and wake up to it. Because you are correct. There would be tremendous repercussions economically. And
behind the scenes,
I agree with you, colleague. And internationally, the United States would really
behind
shake.
the scenes, you gotta think about it. You ever wonder where we get our time? They know, if this something happen like this, you're gonna get the repercussions gonna be so great.
Yeah.
That now they try to squeeze them down and try to say, you know what, gotta knock down these guys so by so.
We Uncle Pat, and then you, colleague, Uncle Pat.
Oh, my name is Pat Kahawaii. I'm a product of Keaukaha, born and raised, couple blocks back here. I didn't go to this school. We go to this school, so you know, I'm alright because I come. Not everybody Keaukaha went to school, but I don't have a choice. They're offering the other school. They're offering choices, and I need to make sure because with choice come consequences. Some of them, but I believe in a process because if we don't know a process, I don't know how that will come, but I have a problem when a process has to be done by signing up. That's why I have a problem. So I think maybe Trustee had made a point with Jack, and now alluded to it. Only the message that we get as the Hawaii when we sit there, whether we look in the TV, YouTube, or whatever coming through the mail, that message is saying, you know, sign up, you know, can do this. You know, sign up by this date, you know, can do this. So I think in my own mind that how we can put all us together is to not have any sign up, but come through a process.
Right off, Pat. Right off.
If we do that as a people,
Yeah.
then I think we just now have shifted the paradigm to say it is about time we get off the whole point. That's where we're sitting.
Right on, right on.
We all sit down, talk story in the garage, scream and yell. I want to use the term namu namu. Okay? I've heard that so much about you don't vote, no grumble. Trust me, if I don't vote, I grumble. So it is not, don't get caught up in the cliches. We are going to be our own worst enemies.
Yeah.
But I would truly employ, or may have painted themselves into the box by saying, hey, we don't have nothing to do with this. We just want to facilitate it. I think, or should maybe rethink facilitate and get back outside and tell Hawaiians, come.
That's right.
No sign, nothing, come. Diverse views, because I will tell you, there's people in my community, strong believers in independence kingdom, but we have never sat to talk. We've heard positions. If you guys are prepared to fund the educational part of it, I heard that you may.
Yeah, we will.
I think that is a processing. That we all get invited, just like the law. I invite you, come. You don't like come, well, I have no choice to tell you. You know, here's a process, come. But every time somebody tell me, you know what, well, you gotta sign first. I'm not prepared I came inside this world only with that name again, and I'm going to leave with that name, bareass and naked. When I came in, that's how I went out. So the processing needs to be, and if you believe that you are the chosen people, if you believe that Keaukaha, if you believe the Mormon Church, Catholic Church, whatever, because Hawaiians are spiritual people. My kupuna did that. I had a conflict. The other school I went to was a Catholic school. It was a parochial school. Try to go to parochial school, come home, and then we have to go clean the park with the tutulere head in the yard. It creates a great conflict as a young kid. So, to work out of that conflict, I just had to make a choice. What am I going to do? I was born Hawaiian, but I have a choice whether to be proud of that I was born Hawaiian. And I stand here before you today and testify that that's who I am. I'm a Hawaiian. I'm never going to shirk the idea that I am not. But this is what we need to do. As Hawaiians, no matter what place in the world we're going to come, I still think a process needs to get done for us to reach some place that we all can agree. Because not everybody going to like what the outcome is, but it's going to be a choice that our people make. It's not going to be something Kamana'o made, not going to be something I made, not going to be something. All of you are going to do that. And so, if you are able, Kamana'o, to employ that, and if it takes emails or communications to trustee, to the headquarters, back on Oahu, this way we got to do, because I truly believe we still have a chance yet. There's a chance. But the chance, that window closing. Don't go look at the grants you will get. Don't go look at the money that will come. Because we know how to take care of people. We know how to plant food to care for ourselves. We just never do them for so long. I tell my young boy today, we want a pickle. What that? What is that? Try clean the fish. You take on fish. Why? What? How come not clean? That's not how it works. Hello, pig. I go get the air back. Oh, you guys don't know how to make ihimu, clean, put in the ground. Use it now. So I am only saying, people, we got to, because there is still going to be a division when this thing is over. But I think, you may be able to help. So be careful about the word facility. I don't like you guys just paint you guys up in a corner by facility. I think with you now, come on now, I think everybody gave the accolades. I'm surprised. I've known one over 30 years. You can give the CEO or accolades.
So mahalo ko Pat, what probably, just based on everyone's one now, our process needs rethinking. But we need a process. The process has to begin and it has to end as a people, as a collective, as community, as our Lahui. And this is really also about protecting our land, empowering our people. But we gotta be more responsive to the voices of this process. And we have to really think about it. I'm sure I'll be talking to Trustee Lindsay and taking this message back. But that is what we're meaning as a people process. So now people talking, having concerns about it, we cannot ignore that. We can't be in denial. And certainly we will consider that. Okay.
Everybody's been real polite. Oha tonight. They've been real polite. And the reality of this whole thing, is that you guys burn plenty bridges.
Yes.
You burn plenty bridges, and your credibility with the community, and especially with the activist groups and so forth, we don't trust you guys.
And I agree with you. That's true.
Totally.
That's true.
And so when it comes to, you know, any kind of alignment, or even associating with the Office of Hawaiian Affairs, or even talking to a trustee, is really a death of any of us in the community. Because it starts to hit Facebook. Even if we even see it in the background and you're in front of us and we're in the back and they take a picture of us and it's not even our selfie. And it goes viral and we get accused
Associated with more.
of being part of war. Oh, and then everything goes crazy. Then we're going to try to explain why we're not part of war. Okay. The bridges have been burned and you guys have got to try to figure out a way of how to rebuild those bridges. And it's not us to go build the bridges with you guys. You guys got to come build the bridges with us. Because you guys are the ones that burned it. And I'm not blaming you coming out.
No.
Because you wasn't there when Climate
I've
Rule
been
was
in
burning the bridges.
No. I've been in enough community meetings to admit that OHA has had a very tumultuous relationship with our people and community. And I agree with that.
Okay, good.
We haven't had good consistency. There is definitely a mistrust in our community with us. And we always haven't done things right. But I can at least say, because, you know, the people who have come before me, I knew stepping into these shoes, that's part of our genealogy, and I gotta accept that. So you're right, that, and the reason why I'm out here, Trustee Hulu Lindsay is here, Kaui and Kuhio is here, is we know when we go into communities, when we
And that's why the trustees never showed up. They said everybody else except them.
So we know that, we know that, Kaui. And we not only acknowledge that, but we how would I say this? Since I've come on board, I really work hard with my staff about improving the integrity of the Office of Hawaiian Affairs. Now, that's only words. It has to be followed up with action. Okay? So we out here, you know, I don't know when the last time Hawaii has come to Keaukaha at a diverse meeting like this.
Without police escort, it's been about 3 years.
So, but all I'm saying is you're right. We know that. And so we are working really hard to be clear as much as possible, transparent, meaning that we hear you. We're not going to be real kiki and like get into arguments. That's our role as OHA, is to represent you, and as you speak up, we have to respond, okay? And so we have to regain that trust back, and that trust only can be rebuilt, I really believe, through action and working with the community.
And the other thing is that the other trustees that are not here tonight, for them not to pull back behind the door deals and then come around and stab a community in the back.
Yeah.
Because you can say what you want to say in front of us,
That's
and then only to get stabbed in the back in Honolulu. And then, you know, again, the bridges that you're trying to build went burn already, again. You know, because too many times, well, it happened every time. You know, and you guys come and you guys talk really nice over here in the community meetings in Keaukaha, QLCC, in Pahala. And then when everybody go back to Honolulu, the trustees over there in Honolulu, you know, Honolulu Poliona, Colette Machado, and everything else, they do their dirty work. And they do their dirty work. And it's really peel off.
I'll turn it over to Hilo. We just wanted to mahalo you guys for your time.
Okay, so thank you. Hello, everybody. Keaukaha. I've heard plenty tonight about the process. It's something new for me. But like everybody, I think we all agree that there is a process that has to happen. I just want to share some history here. My mom was Eleanor Huna, and Auntie Abby Matiahi that Kamanao spoke of tonight, knowing her. And a group of ladies went to the Constitutional Convention in 1977, I believe. The year that OHA was formed. And back then, that was like a big step for the Hawaiian people. Because we only had like Hawaiian homes to deal with. And yeah, I believe that over the years that we've seen a lot of the things that we know that it's not perfect, and we're quick to judge, and we're quick to say, why not this and why not that? For me and myself, I look at everybody and I say to myself, what is the worth of me that my children going to look at? I know for sure, one thing for sure, I know there are certain laws in this world that we live in. Our children are going to be just like us. They're going to be exactly like us. And if we defy it, our children will be exactly like us. Every opportunity that we have to the history of our Hawaiian culture and existence that I know of, and I don't know everything, but I know that when we do have Hawaiian organizations that exist that can benefit the Hawaiian people, and we live in a world that was the federal government and the state of Hawaii, in my eyes, in my mind, I usually like to go and face them because the root is there. That is where the root is. And if anything we can do for this process, I think we should give them all the ammunition that we can. I think we did tonight. But if there's more ammo that we can give them to make sure that everything is covered, the international concerns and the rights that we know to be illegal for the Hawaiian overthrow of the government and all that, and all the things that we need to make a process to make it solid for us, I think that's where we need to concentrate on. Because if it's going to be for our children's sake, in this life, there's something that we really need to think of and leave for them. That they can have this Hawaii that we're talking about. That they can govern themselves. My mindset tells me, if the federal government, the state of Hawaii knows that what is happening is not right, then my mindset tells me, then why are we asking them permission to take back our land? Why are we asking permission to do what is really right for the Hawaiian people and who we are? But there is a process, because we are stuck in this thing right now, that we need to really come together as one. We need to harmonize and unify, even with all the things that you do have inside yourselves, to know by the facts that you have, so it doesn't happen again. That's where I come from. I'm 53 years old. We've been mentioning age tonight. We've been mentioning church tonight. For all the years of my life, I come to meetings and I fail to understand that we cannot, if this is the process of unification, I think Hawaiian people are much, much more better to harmonize in a better process. To be more prepared that when we come to these meetings, that it's all laid out already. That it's all there for our leaders to know, this is what it is we want. I don't think we need to swear or scream at them because of who they are. They're serving us the best they can, I think. We vote for them. You guys vote for them. This is voted. So be nice to the trustees that you vote for. Help them do what is right for us. Because this is one of the biggest hope that we have right now as a Hawaiian entity for special people like us. We are special. I know we are. Thank you very much.
My name is duly elected Native and honor of the law from the Brigade State Hawaiian government. Now, I heard all you guys. I sat patiently and I asked politely of Kamana'o that we have a carve-out slot for us. That's what everybody called. And now that we got into the second round, so people taking the floor a second time, okay, I'm calling. So, a couple things. Very important things. Who remembers this? This is all what it's all about. U.S. Public Law 103-150, paragraph 29. Look at that. Inherent sovereignty. What does it say? It belongs to us, the native tenants. So, knowing that, now mind you, Kamana'o is not Lamu'o. Right? Right? When Lamu'o have come here and actually listened to you guys, he did before, that's because we don't know. It's not Lamu'o. The point that I'm making is, I heard plenty of Mana'o, lots of I believe, I think, I feel. What I know is law. What I know is definition and facts. You know what I mean? I get my own Mana'o too. Most of you guys don't like hear them. You really don't. So, a couple important things, because I have plenty more that I can go into, and we may actually have to arrange a follow-up to get into the details. But let's talk about what's the definition of sovereignty, huh? Black's Law, 4th edition, states sovereignty is the supreme, absolute, and uncontrollable power by which any independent state is governed. Now, the fact is that, although I do laud all his efforts, the fact is that they are a state agency. Although they are kind of the redheaded stepchild of the state, and they are kind of an anomaly, and you guys actually hold a unique power as that redheaded stepchild. Who else can sue the state? So, what I'm saying is, any process, not the process, any entity, anything that is formulated by the state is going to be inherently illegal. But, the whole thing is, you know how you guys can save your own, all you guys got to do is fund the proper claimant. The proper claimant. You know these words. Process. Okay, wait, real quick. Can I get on the duly naturalized, repatriated nationals of the reinstated Hawaiian government to stand up, please? Please. Including officials. Everybody. You reinstated? Stand up. What's the difference between these guys and you guys? A paperwork process. Actually, Gary is the most important one to stand up. Actually, all these Kanaks, these guys, we all know they're native tenants. We all know they're Kanaka. But Gary, did you know that because as a duly sworn and repatriated national of Hawaiian Kingdom, I looked at the statutes. He has all the same rights as a native tenant. Why? Because he gave up his American citizenship to be Hawaiian. Now, the point is, all these things, nationhood, it is not within the state of Hawaii or the American government's authority to construct a sovereignty from scratch. However, we reinstated back in 1999. What happened in 2000? It starts with a K, second word starts with I, Kauinoa. Oh, convenient, yeah? Now, the whole thing is elections. Okay, elections. How many elections have we had, reinstated officials? How many? 4. 4. Okay, when's the next one? Next year. Ah, how convenient. No, not just that. Governing document. Okay, real quick, before I get into anything else. What are the 4 qualifications of nationhood? Of Sam, what is it? Territory, right? Ko Hawaii Pai'aina Apiha, the entire country. What is the population? The native tenants and the duly repatriated nationals. Now sovereignty, that's the other thing. This right here, do you have any idea? Foreign countries, the foreign governments that we've been to, they nearly pooped their pants when they found out the Americans admitted this. Now, the last thing, a government. Now, the whole thing about a governing entity, that's a deliberately vague term that came from probably somebody's legal department. Not coming on. Now, the whole thing is, we qualify as a government. Honestly, there's only few people here that are actually representing themselves as government officials right now. And that's the 2 LHG brothers in the suits and OHA. I mean, nothing against any of you guys, but the fact is, I came here on the clock. I'm in the suit, a full dress uniform. Why? Because this is serious. So the whole thing is, not just governing document, you know what you need? You need a constitution. Now the fact is that we've been hearing the word process process, bandied about for how all day. And you know, honestly, I sat through, you know, I went to Pahala, and you know, actually, hey Rob, you know what I mean? Hey, I know how it is, Rob. We've been doing this in the streets with the drums and the crazies in front of Kamehameha statue. The whole thing is that, you know, who needs a deadline? At least you've been doing this for 15 years. All this is a page out of a book. A book. You know, whose book? This book. This book. The point that I'm getting at too is, okay, you know what just happened? Act 77. Did you know that anybody who's on the roll got automatically transferred to whatever the hell's going to go on next? You know what that is? That's identity theft. Did they ask every single one of you individually? No. And you know what that also qualifies on? Under Title 18, United States Code. Hey, that's fraud. Now, come on, you are in a very precarious position because this is like Chapter 1, Subsection 4, misprision of fraud. Do we remember that word? Misprision. Misprision. Do we know that word? Anybody in school? Anybody remember that word? You know what they accused the Queen of? In 1895, Wilcox's aborted counter-revolution. Misprision. They claimed that she knew that the counter-revolution was going to happen, and that's why they locked her up in the palace. I mean, if my exact facts are wrong, fact check me. I don't care. I'd rather be correct and accurate than right. So, also, I mean, let's not forget too, 195, the whole reason for Kana'io, you know what that was? Everybody thinks, oh, Kana'io, you know what that was? That was Abercrombie acknowledging that Obama in 2010 signed what? UN DRIPS, the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples. And in the very beginning, it talks about how we reserve the right to form and support and enhance our own political institutions. What else? Now, all falls into that category. But the fact is, we can get into Article 12, Section 7, Hawaii State Constitution, right? Gathering rights, and all that stuff. Traditional and customary practices. And what is a traditional customary practice since 1893? Hey! Yeah! Oripa! Right? 1893. What year is it? 2014? This is year 121 since the overthrow. Tell me that's not a traditional cultural practice. Right? Now, what else? Okay, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. In the very beginning of UN DRIPS, it says nothing in this declaration is intended to take away from the human rights. And you know what one of the human rights are? Right to a nationality. Nobody can be unlawfully or unwillfully, whatever, involuntarily deprived of their nationality. That's what this is saying, is that you guys have always been Hawaiian. You guys are all, unless, okay, and that's the whole thing, is that, you know, that's the problem with any kind of race-based solution, is that it cuts out anybody who would never have blood. I mean, there was black servants of the Queen, freed slaves, all kind people. What about them? This is about nationality. What is nationality? Everybody thinks, oh, what's your nationality? Oh, Hawaiian, Chinese, Korean, Filipino, Filipino, Spanish, blah, blah, blah. And that's just me. But no, your nationality is your allegiance. That's a choice. Your ethnicity is Chinese, Korean, Okinawan, blah, 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 Puerto Rican, blah, 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 blah. So, another thing too, okay, I have only a little bit more because pretty much this is all the main stuff. You know what I mean? Now, I like the fact that Kamaro said that we each individual to make our own decisions. You know what that's referred to? That is your inherent sovereignty. Because right here, 1758. And what else happened in 1758, guys? Anybody know? That was the year that Kamehameha was supposedly born. Supposedly. But, whatever. You know why? What's his name? What's his real name? Pai'ea. What does Pai'ea mean? Crab. Now, what does that sound familiar? Alameda crab syndrome. I mean, really, because let's not forget that Kamehameha wanted to hand us over to the British, but they wouldn't take it. Now, the whole thing is, doesn't that make him King Crab? And isn't the legacy of Kamehameha, the state and the counties and the I mean, seriously, let's go quote-unquote the evolution. We need to remember that Wilcox, that was a counter-revolution. Dole, Thurston, all these guys, that was the fake that was the evolution. So now, we as the sovereignty community, the lawful Hawaiian government, and even the redheaded stepchildren in Oahu, we are quote-unquote the evolution. And how? Brother, we meet all the qualifications of international law, everything, brother. You know, the fact is that, you know what, people are watching, especially the feds, because the fact is, say it straight, you know, I'm not going to, you know, basically, how do we, what if, now think about this one out, because I'm going to close after this, and maybe we should sing like a lullaby. But what I'm saying is, what if the United States government is starting to figure out that the state of Hawaii has been shysting them the whole time and breaking all kinds of laws, and that's why they're looking at us now. Oh, these Hawaiians actually have it together. Maybe they're finally ready to give them back. Because the whole thing about Crimea and Ukraine and all this, you know what happened in Crimea that didn't happen in Hawaii? that. The Crimeans were asked. We were not. As a matter of fact, we said a resounding no. So, ku'e petitions, 1897. What word did they say besides ku'e? They said aole, right? We were never asked. No means no. No matter if it's rape, no matter if it's annexation, no matter if it's freaking GMOs. No means no, and that is the point. Because, okay, what I was going to say about inherent sovereignty, what you were saying, the whole thing is, even in here, a lot of nations, it states that every individual retains the right to their sovereignty over themselves, except that which they voluntarily submit to a government for the mutual good of all the people. Now, I heard a lot talking about church, and the church. You know what? Yes. I got burned by Christianity. I got burned so hard that I got lines with tooth and tether. Anybody say, hey, in Jesus' name, I shout out, hey, no, pennant. Because, you know, I don't have a problem with Jesus. He was a cool guy. He was an original revolutionary. But the body of Christ, Revelations, right? The body of Christ to which the Lamb is supposed to be wed. The body of Christ is not a church. It's not an institution. Jesus, while I'm talking against the institution, the body of Christ is the people. The people. You guys. I mean, honestly, because I got elected to know, technically, if you want to break down the definitions, I don't count as the people anymore. I work for my government because the nobles, if you look at it, that's the chiefs. I don't claim to be a leader over anybody because I was elected. And that's the whole thing, is that the constitutional monarchy doesn't mean that it can't still be a populist democracy. Right? No. So think about this. Once again, you guys is all native tenants, unless, one, you're still American, and the fact is that you guys may actually be liable criminally if you guys don't go along with international law. That's the fact, bro. You know, I aloha you. You know, and when I saw your name, wow, interesting. And I saw you in the thing. I seen you in the tattoo book, bro. You know what I mean? And so I'll show you this, bro. That's Hawaiian tattoo, bro. You know what I mean? Hawaiian. Wa duso me kahaha, a me kialoha, a me nokamalama, a piha, ona keiki. It's about the kids. It's not about us. It's not about my ego, because of course you guys can tell that I'm full of myself. But at least I can say that, right? We know Keaukaha's full of himself. We know da-da-da-da's full of himself. And I can tell you guys straight up, well, yeah, I love the attention. But if I'm saying something for real, we all gotta listen. So, Paul. E Hawaii